Yo guys, what is going on? JPS back for another video, and today we're going to be reacting to British inventions that changed the world. Let's see what impact you guys have had on the world. I'm really curious to get into this. My guess, maybe Cadbury, but we shall find out. Anyways, if you're interested in full reactions to British shows and movies, consider joining the Patreon. First link in description. I'm getting ready to react to our Friday movie night right after this reaction, so if you want to go see what that is, first link in description. We react to a British movie every Friday night, and then every day during the week we have a rotation of different British shows that we're watching. Upon joining, you get access to everything we've ever done on there, so I would really appreciate the support, but it's up to you. Thanks so much. But anyways, let's get right into this.
Brits don't like to blow their own trumpet, and they really should sometimes. So yeah, he literally was a scientist and he just wanted to be able to take tea on a picnic. Is that the weirdest analogy I've ever given? Probably. Which is the most British thing I've ever heard, and I love it. Back to the Future has some thanks to give, I think, to Christopher. Next one I think is interesting because of the reputation Brits have for having bad teeth. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I am Yvette, and I moved to the UK in May last year, and I've been here almost a year, and I'm documenting my experiences. I literally hit record and they literally turned that on. You cannot be joking. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Some technical difficulties. We're back, sorry. I also have a wild dog that likes to come in and out of my videos. Hello. I'm eating you too somehow. So for this video, I wanted to make a video talking about the top British inventions that no one really realizes are British. I feel like America takes a lot of the glory in terms of inventions, and people don't realize how much Brits did, considering how impactful they were on the world, particularly in the Industrial Revolution and all that jazz. So I thought I'd make a video highlighting some of Britain's greatest achievements, and we'll go from there. So these are just some of the ones that I had no idea about. So you might already know these, they might be common knowledge, but coming from a foreigner, these were not common knowledge to me. Number one, I think is absolutely no surprise to anyone who's been to England, but the thermo flask. So the flask that you put your tea in, shocking. They love tea so much they found a way to travel with it. And so that's a British invention, which makes sense. It was invented in 1892 by James someone. I'm not going to be like a history lesson. All you need to know is it was a flask.
What the hell? Aren't you the one making the video? Honestly, that's relatable, though. Let's be real. Do you really remember the name of the I mean, for some of the more notable inventions, yes, but to me, it's just a name. Like, I do forget. I never remember the name of anyone who's ever invented anything. What really stands out is where they're from and when it happened. That's just me. But it is, you got to give credit. Come on now.
Someone? I'm not going to be like a history lesson. All you need to know is it was a flask. So yeah, he literally was a scientist and he just wanted to be able to take tea on picnics, which is the most British thing I've ever heard, and I love it. The next invention is the lawnmower, which everyone has. Lawnmower was invented in 1827, and it was for the affluent to have good football and cricket pitches, which is surprising to no one. But then obviously it took off, and there you go. Which makes sense, because very British to think of a British garden with a very curated like hedge and like beautiful like flowers. Makes sense. Now this one, if I've got any Americans watching, will be...
That does make... I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at her. It's just... I like the laid-back style of the video. It's much different. Usually when we're watching videos like this, it's like, this happened here, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is a lot more personal, I feel like. But the lawnmower makes sense because you guys have those crazy gardens in the backyard. Like, these British gardens, we need to react to a video on, like, a British garden setup. Apparently everyone's a gardener in Britain. That's all I know. The
point of contention. Flowers makes sense. Now this one, if I've got any Americans watching, will be a point of contention, I am sure. But I have my stats to back me up. The light bulb was invented by Thomas. No, it wasn't invented by Thomas Edison. I got you. It was invented by Joseph Swan in 1880. He beat. He started manufacturing them in 1880, he had a patent, and at the time the only real competition was gas lights, and these were much better for the people because there was no residue, no smoke, etc. No smell, and they took off, and they only lasted 12 hours. So So I have no idea how much they would have cost, because that would have been... But yeah, little known fact, not Thomas Edison. That's a good one for like trivia, you know, your pub trivia, and they say who invented the light bulb.
No, I knew it wasn't Thomas Edison, but Thomas Edison did make significant improvements to it or something, but that's a fact. I don't know why we were taught that in schools, but okay. Yeah, I knew that wasn't the truth though.
And it's a trick question, because really it's Joseph Swan.
Joseph
the next
Swan.
one, my personal favorite, is the chocolate bar. It was created in 1847 by Fry and Sons. Before this point, it was only consumed as like a drink, and then they created a mixture where they mix it with sugar and made it more of a solid that would then melt in your mouth, and that was the chocolate bar, which is fascinating. So it was also created in Bristol. So my Bristolians claim to fame, chocolate, get royalties. Something we've all had at some time in our life is soda water, which was invented by the Brits, specifically Joseph Priestley in 1742. He created soda water. So he created the way to make soda water. However, Mr. Schwepp, whoever of Schweppes, I think we all know, ended up using that method to make soft drink, carbonated soft drink. And it was a bowl above some beer, and then that makes soda water. There you go. 1876.
Honestly, I would have thought that the Germans would have invented soda water, because I keep hearing that's all they drink. It's just my 2 cents.
By Graham Bell, he invented the telephone, the traditional telephone, rather than, you know, our traditional mobile phones have today. I don't know what he would think about that. Another huge one, so I'm covering off like all of the massive inventions I would say that have like transformed the 21st century. Is that like phones, we've got phones, light bulbs. We also have the television, which revolutionary, and I didn't know that. I honestly would have thought America invented the TV, but here we are. The TV was invented by John Bard, and it was in 1925. So somehow older, but also not as old as I thought, which is weird. So there's a bit of contention over who actually invented the TV. However, Jonathan Bard did actually project an image using television type materials first. However, he didn't patent it or protect it in any way, so he couldn't really reap the rewards of his invention. So that's why there's so many different people who took that technology and then tweaked it and made it their own, and then there you go, sold off. Next one I think is interesting because of the reputation Brits have for having bad teeth, but did you know that Brits invented the toothbrush? Before he invented the toothbrush, people were getting salt and soot and putting it on a rag and then brushing their teeth like that, and he was like, I think I got a better way. And so in 1770 he invented a toothbrush, and I cannot thank him more for it. There's so many inventions for the UK have invented, so like hip replacement, sewage systems, all of like standard day-to-day stuff, but I'm here for the interesting ones, like the ones that you wouldn't think of. So for example, the UK invented hovercrafts. It was by Christopher Cockwell, and he was in 1953, and he just wanted to make his boat go faster, and then he ended up making it hover along the water. So Back to the Future has some thanks to give, I think, to Christopher. Kris. The UK also invented ATMs, something we all use almost every day. It was invented in 1967 by Joseph Sharon Barron, is that it? Shepard Barron. And he invented ATMs because there was a machine installed outside of Barclays in 1967. However, because we didn't have credit cards yet, you would get a special check and you could insert it and put a pin in, and then it would give you £10 back. And then obviously it's taken off from there. But I often think before then, because I think before they came widespread, they didn't come widespread, I think, in Australia until like maybe the 80s, maybe even later. Because my parents would often mention how when they were young, they would have to go to the bank during the week and get their money out for the weekend, and the banks were closed on weekend. So if you didn't have enough money for the weekend, too bad. And I was like, as someone who lives in the 21st century, like, I've got 7 different ways I can pay for something, whether it's Apple Pay, credit cards, cash, a different credit card. Yeah. There's always some way to buy something now. So the idea that you could have just literally been stuck with no cash is wild. Would have made saving a lot easier because you just can't access your money. So it's like when you're eating healthy and you buy healthy food at the store, and then you get home and then you want to crave snacks, but there aren't any and you can't get any. That's how I feel with the money situation. Is that the weirdest analogy I've ever given? Probably.
That's just, yeah. One thing I will say though that I was thinking about while she was talking about that is with the introduction of like credit and how that has ruined so many people's lives, like credit card companies taking advantage of people, putting them into massive debt. If just like some people just should not have a credit card. I don't. It's really unfortunate. Like it is what it is. But that's probably one of the biggest like evolutions in payment processing and the way we go about our finances is from that very very simple all the way to having all these different credit cards and owing this and that to the company, getting your car repossessed, all types of things. It's just, man, I don't know if we've gone down a good route with that, but I honestly think the companies prey on people more than help them. So we'll see.
I've saved the best till last, and I think it's the most impactful thing that's ever happened to the history of mankind, and it's a British invention, so you guys can claim it all your own. It is the World Wide Web. It was invented by Tim Berners-Lee, and it was almost called Tim, like the internet was almost called Tim, like the World Wide Tim or something. So he, in 1991, the year I was born, good year, connected a bunch of computers together and created a server, and then created the first ever web page which explained how to set up a website and how to use it to search things. So without that, the entire world would be different. And he gave away that invention for free. I don't think he's gotten any reward from it. He didn't pay anyone to use it. It was free domain, which is amazing. That would never happen now. Without him, you wouldn't be watching this video. You wouldn't know who I am. It's wild how much that's changed.
Yeah.
So those were just some of my favorite.
Man, I actually learned that in a class not too long ago. Not a class I'm currently taking, a class in the past, but the World Wide Web and the internet, two different things, but really, really interesting. And it was invented by Britain. I would say that's the biggest invention on this entire list. Let me know what you guys think, but I think that's the most influential invention that really changed the world. I mean, of course, we would have some type of format for communicating over the web at some point, but the World Wide Web really, really changed everything. It's still being used. www.youtube.com.
Favorite British inventions that I had no idea about. Some of them make complete sense, like the thermoflask and that, but things like the internet, I think people don't give enough credit to the UK for inventing, because let's be honest, Brits don't like to blow their own trumpet, and they really should sometimes.
They don't?
You guys do have a lot to offer. You should be bragging more. America.
They don't brag? I think we've had some very different experiences.
Is getting all the brags in. But that's it for this video. I thought I'd just do a quick little fun one. Just something random. I fell down the internet again. Down a random click hole. So here we are.
Click hole.
Anyways.
All right, we're gonna get off this video. That was interesting. It was a good video. I think the presenter was just very casual with it, which we're not used to on this channel. We're used to watching these, very formally produced videos for reaction content, but now we're watching just random people, which it's cool. I enjoyed it, so definitely learned something new today. Yeah, those are some British inventions that changed the world. I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think the World Wide Web invention is the biggest or the most influential on this list? Let me know in the comments down below. If you have other videos you want me to react to, also throw those in the comments. I would really appreciate some ideas, as we've really come a long way and learned a lot about Britain. So at this point, I'm just trying to find more to learn about Britain, and that is, it becomes harder and harder every day. Of course, there's always something new to learn, but once you get all the major things done, it's like, I want to learn stuff, but it has to, appeal to you guys. Like, where do I go with that? So that's really where I'm at right now with that. But hoping to come back to the UK soon, so that will give us some good content, some travel content. So stay tuned for that, guys. But hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one.